All right, welcome into another episode of the Clapp Trap. We have the last episode of the week to finish things up, and I have brought my good friend Matt on to talk a lot about the Celtics, but we're also going to get into some NFL topics as well. We have some good things to talk about, but first of all, as always, Matt, thank you for coming onto the show. I appreciate it. I know it's been a little while, but I'm happy to be able to talk some Celtics with you.
Yeah, I'm fired up. I got a lot to say, so thanks for having me on.
Good. That's what we always like to hear here on the Clapp Trap. Got to have some good takes about everything going on with our teams and anything else going on in the world of sports. But we have some pretty crazy good teams right now in New England playing. It's been kind of surprising from some standpoints. At least when you think about the Bruins, I didn't think that they were going to come and start. Certainly not this hot, but be anywhere near what they are so far. And then obviously you got the Celts doing good as well. So I got to ask you, just to kind of start off the show, I know you're bigger on the Celtics, but what do you got to say? Who's the more impressive Boston sports team right now? Is it the Celtics or the Bruins?
I'm going Celtics. I'm obviously biased for several different reasons. You know, sometimes you get to pick one as a winter sport kid, either basketball or hockey. I think we know which way each of us went. Yeah, I mean, plus the Celtics are coming up. I mean, they're coming off of a almost title run, so bigger expectations. There's not, this is not so much lightning in a bottle. This is like an institutional sort of thing they're building. The Bruins, I mean, I don't, not that I can sit there and give you, hockey hardo, like, bit for bit and how to break down a game, but I don't know. I mean, this could just be. So, I mean, they're doing this like without like all the injuries they've got going on. It's an impressive story, man. I mean, they're first place, but I don't know. I still think that there's higher expectations on the Celtics, and I think there's a much higher chance of something good happening out of them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have arguably the best player in all of New England sports right now in Jason Tatum, right? He's got the best chance probably to be, he's an MVP candidate. I can't see anyone else in New England sports that would be considered better than him overall. So they have that. They've had Mac Jones nowhere close. That I think that they have obviously started off to a great record and everything like that. But I'm going Bruins, obviously. Yeah, you said it. You're picking Celtics. I'm going Bruins. I mean, 14-2 start to start off the year, 9-0 at home. Those are both franchise records for a storied franchise. I mean, I know the Celtics are also a historically franchise or crazy franchise there, but the Bruins, best start that they've ever had. They have 65 goals through 16 games, crazy pace, 5 more than anyone else in the Eastern Conference. They also have only given up 35 goals in the season, which is best in the Eastern Conference as well. They've been dominant. You said it yourself. They had to deal with a lot of injuries coming out. They didn't even have Charlie McAvoy until just recently. Brad Marchand to start off the year, they didn't have him. So I don't know. It's crazy. I don't expect it to continue. There's no way that you could. There's no way that teams like this do this in hockey. I mean, 14 wins already out of 16 games. That just doesn't happen. So they'll come back down to earth. But it's more impressive to me out the gate. But that doesn't mean that the Celtics aren't impressive. Like I said, they got a lot of good stuff going on. They got a potential MVP candidate in Jason Tatum, and that leads me to the second question that I had for you, Matt. Talking about the Celtics and everything that they got. Everybody's been talking Jason Tatum lately. Do you agree? Do you think that Jason Tatum is the best player in the Eastern Conference right now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, arguably, maybe now within the next year or so, whole NBA. I mean, he's got that talent, man. And what I love watching about him this year is he's playing on he's playing all around. He's getting rebounds. He's crashing for like 8 boards usually, like something in that range. Is not too far away from the double doubles. I don't know how many he has, but I mean, he's definitely put double digit rebounds up on several occasions this year. He's good. His defense is way better. He's trying. He's running the floor. He's in front of guys. He's not. I think it's like an appropriate amount of whining for calls now. The tee he got on him the other night was freaking ridiculous. But no, I'm all in on him. I mean, I was just showing you my Boston Celtics City Edition Jason Tatum jersey. I'm bought in, and it's probably the first time I bought a jersey for someone younger than me in a long time. So, he can be MVP.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. He's in the running right now. He's up there as talks for. I mean, his most recent run that he had up until this last game, where both him and Jaylen Brown couldn't really shoot well. leading up to that, I mean, he had a 40-point performance the other night. He had multiple 30-point games. He's averaging 31, 7, and 4 on the season, plus a block and a steal per game. The guy is a beast right now, but unfortunately, I still think there's somebody that's better than him right now in the Eastern Conference, and that's Giannis. I just have to keep going with him right now. I mean, the guy is also on an absolute tear right now. He's averaging 30 with 12 rebounds a game and 5 assists. It feels like he's got to do it a lot more on his own, kind of. They're just behind the Celtics. I still got to give Giannis the little bit of a boost over there. But I mean, Tatum, this is the season where he's taking over. He's changing people's minds. He's putting himself in that legitimate conversation, and I love to see it. I'm just not ready to put him over Giannis just yet. He's still just too physical.
In terms of
dominant.
I mean, I don't disagree with you in terms of an overall, like, all-around player, like, you know, with all the physical bits of it. And just, of course, I mean, Giannis is a freak. But there is always like the whoever selects the MVP and all the awards at the end of the year, there's always that fatigue. Like, we can remember like LeBron years he should have won it, but what are you going to give it to him a 4th year in a row? So like with Giannis, I mean, didn't Giannis double up last year? He got defensive and he got the MVP. Was that?
I think that was.
Am I remembering that right? And
yeah,
I think he got the MVP the year before that. No, Nikola Jokic. What am I doing? Yeah, he got the last 2 years.
But he got defensive player, or yeah.
And no, because Marcus Smart got it. So then Giannis got it the year before. In any case, I'm going to lose my train of thought here. No, I mean, the thing is, Tatum doesn't have the accolades. He still has like that empty trophy case where I feel like you can get some sort of a little bit of
it's his turn
from
next.
Exactly. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that he's put himself firmly in that conversation. But yeah, I don't know. Until I need to see it for the entire season, first of all. Once again, put his team on his back kind of thing, but go on that crazy run, keep that first place in the conference. That'll really prove it to me. But still right now, I'm Giannis until further notice. I mean, Giannis is still shooting 51%, and he's actually starting to shoot 3-pointers now. The guy is starting to change up his game. He's already shot as many 3-pointers almost as he did last year. I think he only took like 45 last year. He's already up to like 35, 36 this year. So Giannis is trying to chuck it up there too. So he's changing his game to try and stay with these other guys. Yeah, free throws.
How's free throws doing?
I think like 62.
I think he got a little better.
I think he actually went down. He's gone down so far this year. I think I was looking at that. I think last year he was like 67%. Now he's around 62, 63. So he's obviously got to get that better. That's a big part of his game. But we'll see how things go.
I mean, if you can't close, if you can't hit free throws, you can't be the guy to close the game.
It's true. It's just nice to see Tatum in this position, though. I think we've all for the last couple of seasons. We knew that he was going to get here. It's just nice to like officially have him here, I think.
Yeah, he's that man now. He's that dude. He's got the shoulders. He's got the freaking size. He's beastly now.
He did. He put on some good size there, and he's thrown his weight around and his complaints around. But like you said, those are getting a little better, I guess. We'll see how things go with that. I'm glad that they rescinded that tech for him, and they did it again earlier in the season as well, because we can't have those things adding up. Can't have it.
No, I react worse than that when I coached the 8th grade travel team out here. I mean, that's like that whole like, all you do is punch his hand, like, gosh darn it, gee willikers. Yeah.
In the moment too, it was funny because Scalabrine was trying to do his best Tommy Heinsohn, and he was just screaming and yelling and being like, he was just frustrated that he didn't play or that he missed a layup the last time. This wasn't anything about that moment. And I was like, Scalabrine, like, what are you doing? I don't even understand what you're complaining about right now. Yes, we get it. It wasn't that big of a deal, but relax. I don't know. He's
got to draw those viewers in.
Got to draw those viewers in. That's true. But there are other players on this team that mean a lot to this Celtics squad. Jason Tatum is obviously the guy, and then you got Jaylen Brown as well. But if you had to say the most important player that doesn't start their name with Jay on this Celtics squad, who is that and why?
I don't know. I've got a couple of favorites this year. I mean, I don't know. Hauser has just been like, he's got a little sweet spot for me. He's like, you can get Grant Williams, get out of here. Like, just go with the Hauser in the corner.
That was quick.
No, I mean, Derek White stepped up decent, the other night. I don't know what his stat line was, but I mean, like you were saying, not the Jays didn't shoot too well against Atlanta the other night, but they still won by like freaking 30. I mean, they just absolutely blew them out. Crazy. You know, late scratch. I mean, Derek White came in, moved the ball around. He's capable of starting. I don't know. I think it's, yeah. I mean, he's had a good week. He's making, you know, making the most of his minutes. No, I like the whole team, man. I mean, Marcus is obviously, you know, could be stepping it up, could be playing a little bit harder, but you know, DPOIs, get some of that DPOI hangover. I don't know, I can go through the whole roster. I'm just a fan.
You're just green teaming right now, fanboying about.
I don't have a lot of bad things to say about the squad these days. No, I'm gonna be honest with you.
No, you can't have anything bad to say about him right now. But you can pick one dude, and you didn't even say my guy, Al Horford. It's Al Horford. Come on, this guy is averaging 31 minutes a game at this year in his career. What is this, his 16th season? Something ridiculous like that. He's 36 or whatever it is. The guy is an old man. We thought his career was done. Now he's coming back, and he's averaging 31 minutes when we need him to the most with Rob Williams on the court. I'm just loving everything that Al Horford did. You know that I'm a big Al Horford guy anyways. He's averaging 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists with about a block a game, shooting 54% from the field and 44% from three-point range. It's Al Horford. Al Horford is the most important player on this team that doesn't start with J-A-Y.
How many games? I feel like he's been out like a little bit. How many games has? I'm looking up his stats right now, but you didn't play the other night, right?
You're gonna get it quicker than me, but I thought I saw at least like 11.
It says 9-3. I don't know if that's the identical record. You know, this is great podcasting right here, but
the look up.
Yeah, it says he's 9-3 as like his record is listed on his splits. I don't know. I mean. You can fawn over him all you want. You know, we all know water's gonna find its level. He's gonna fall back to, you know, his 12, 5, probably 12, 5 and 5 now. I think it's where he's really settling in. So
fine. He's right there. He's 11, 7 and 2.
It's the stuff that you're not seeing though on the stat sheet that we always love him for.
Finally, we can really recognize this because he doesn't have that gigantic contract looming over his head, right? That's why he was always hated on, or not. I mean, looked down on.
It didn't. I think he's still in the last year of that crazy ass deal because he had a kicker that if he made the finals, like his last year got fully guaranteed. Yeah, so he's making that like 30+ million. Yeah.
Good. He deserves it. We need him. We need him right now. More. No, I think in all honesty, it's just because Rob Williams is out. We don't really have another big man. What are you putting out there? Cornette? You know, like that's the only other real big that we have. Al's got to play some major minutes. Like I said, at his age, doing 31 minutes a game in even just the 12 games that he's played. I mean, come on, that's to me, that's huge for this team. And he's the veteran presence. He's the veteran presence on the court. And apparently they don't hate him like I thought I heard rumors about last year with him and Jaylen Brown getting into it or whatever. I guess that's all squashed. So he's great. He's great. I just wanted to be able to talk about.
How do you go about hating? How do you go about hating like the old school vet on the team? Like what kind of dink do you have to be like, I got a bone to pick with you, savvy vet?
How dare you try and tell me I know what I'm going to be doing here. I know what to do. But yeah, no, I think
remember those Florida Gators teams? Those Florida Gators teams. That was like
I thought it was crazy too. I mean, if you think back on it, Al Horford was like a rookie in that 2008 year or something, right? When we actually won the championship with KG and everything. He was on that Atlanta Hawks team. I think it was either his rookie year or his second year of the season. Because that national championship, I believe, was 2006 for the Gators with Al Horford and everything like that.
Yeah,
so
I know we were in high school. Yeah, they went back to back, right? That Corey Brewer, Joakim Noah. Yeah,
that's the squad there. And then Al Horford came out. He went to the Atlanta Hawks, and then he immediately became a thorn in the Celtics side. Not necessarily like beating them, but just like always pain to play against that team back then. But he's good. He's good. I don't know. I'm a big fan.
Really selling me on Al Horford right now.
There you go. That's what I wanted.
I've got that 42. Get that 42 Vin Baker jersey. I'll have to scratch out Baker, put Horford.
Put a nice little piece of tape over that, and we'll be able to get you on the Al Horford team here. But this team is doing good. Celtics are doing great. Enough talking about just Al Horford. This team has brought themselves to the best record in the league. Do we think that they're the best team in the league, though? And should they be favorited to win the whole thing, do you think?
I mean, if you've looked at the way the Warriors are playing, if you're going off, using last year as your initial barometer, then yeah, that they're the best team. I think they get the best Vegas odds right now. Not enough value, obviously. They wouldn't be playing for that. But no, I mean, the Warriors were next. I mean, the Bucks aren't healthy yet, so you can't really give them like the full grade. I mean, they weren't healthy last year, but that's how things go. Sometimes you catch breaks like that if you're the Celtics. So I don't know. I haven't been. I'm always good with the West Coast teams just because I'm a night owl, but I haven't been super on top of the rest of the East this year. How's like Miami, Toronto? I know they played the other night. What's like the status of those like lower tier?
I mean, that's not as much as I'm worried about a team like the Cavaliers, who have already shown you that they can beat you and play with you this year, and they've got so much better. I think that's going to be a speed bump in your way. I don't think that they're obviously better than you, certainly not on paper, but they're built as a team. That starting five could probably go up against any starting five I could mention. And the only thing that's going to, I think, put the Celtics over the top against the Cavs is our bench unit is going to be a hell of a lot better than their bench unit. But 5 for 5 straight up, I think that they're up there with you. You said it, though. I mean, the Bucks would be another one in their way, but they're just not fully going to be, or they haven't been healthy, I would say, yet. And we got to see what that'll be like in a playoff matchup against the Bucks if they were to have Chris Middleton the entire time. The only thing that they were missing really last year against them. So I think that's going to be a problem for them. But yeah, the Cavs, I think from watching the matchups that we've seen so far, that's the other team right now that really feels like it's got itself put together and is able and hungry and willing to go out there and beat a team like the Celtics. So that one I'm worried about.
I mean, what was it? It was two games, both went to overtime. I mean, I'm honestly calling that. I want to say that's the Celtics not closing the way that they should have. I mean, that Cavs team is good. They're gritty. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is just doing something, ridiculous there. It's just, I don't know, man. I also watched them lose to the Kings the other night, going down big. Like the Cavs Cavs are big fourth quarter teams. I've been noticing, like they're not they're going into these games down, like usually at the end of the third quarter. They played the Kings. I mean, it's the same thing against the Celtics, going back and forth. I'm like a little bit like curious about the Kings. I saw the whooping they put on the Nets the other night, and I don't know. I mean, they're shooting well. They're shooting like crazy. But I am picking up more of the West Coast games so far. But I don't know. I'm excited. I love it. It's NBA.
You're a night owl. You get after those games that start late there. You get to watch LeBron and the Lakers suck and things like that. So that must be nice.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll hate watch that. That's the best.
Yes, yeah, it's good stuff watching him fall apart. But actually, I was just looking at the Cavs, and maybe I'm a little bit wrong on them. I think they're on like a 4 or 5 game losing streak right now, and I didn't even notice that. So maybe the Cavs aren't even good. Maybe there is no team that's in the Celtics' way. I thought that just straight up those two teams. I hadn't been paying attention to the Cavs, I guess, over the last week or so, them falling apart. But I thought it was going to be Bucks, and I thought it was going to be Cavs. Maybe it won't be Cavs. Who knows at this point? I just don't see anyone else. I mean, the Hawks. No, what you got like you said, the Raptors. I don't believe in them. I think the Pacers are up there right now because they got that rookie Halliburton or whatever. He's randomly winning games for them. So I mean, there is nobody else in the Eastern Conference that I'm really afraid of other than the Bucks. And like I said, I thought I was afraid of the Cavs, but maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe I shouldn't be. I'm not afraid of the Sixers. I'm not afraid of the Heat. We're not afraid of any of those teams. We're certainly not afraid of that dumpster fire, which is the Nets, right? They just keep making things worse and worse for themselves, it seems like, over there. So I don't know.
KD comments? Are we going to find time to talk about those KD comments?
Yeah, we can talk about that right now. I mean, those things, I mean, he's not technically wrong, though, right? I mean, it's not the kind of thing that you would want him to say. Don't get me wrong, but he's not wrong.
That's the thing, like you say to yourself, like you don't say that to a room full of people, especially people with microphones and cameras. What a dink! I mean, you're going. It's not like you're getting traded tomorrow. Like that's what makes me think like his head, like he's mentally like not like checked in with his team. Like probably wanted to go to Phoenix, was pissed and all, butthurt he didn't go to Phoenix. So like, because if you're gonna go share a locker room with these guys, like in team planes day in day out, like you like don't speak on dudes like that. Like,
No.
and then like, hey, you guys hear it? You saw like what I just did up there? Yeah, I mean, like it's true. Like that's not cool, man. Plus, I mean, I like friggin' what's his name? White dude who's shooting the threes that he called out.
Oh, I was gonna say Joe Harris, but it's not him, right? It's
Joe Harris. Thank you.
Is
Yeah,
it
so
Joe Harris?
I'm
Okay.
drawing a blank. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know why I was doing that.
Joe Harris is all right.
Yeah,
I mean, they really don't have anybody, and then you got to deal with the whole Kyrie Irving situation, the Simmons thing where he can't figure his crap out either, and he's being kind of like just an annoying player to have to deal with. So, I mean,
they're already fed up with them. It's like they just don't understand it. He was in the game when they were like down 30 to the Kings in the fourth quarter. He was still in the game missing bunnies. I'm like, there he is.
There it is. And they thought that bringing in like Ime Udoka would just solve all problems. I don't understand what they were thinking about over there. Brooklyn just can't figure it out. And so they're another one. You had all the talent in the world. I almost look at them, and this is no coincidence that there was the same player on both of these teams. They're like that Celtics team that had Hayward and Kyrie Irving and all that talent, and it just went absolutely nowhere. I mean, ours fell apart more due to injury. Theirs is falling apart due to turmoil, both of which had Kyrie Irving involved. But I mean, it just feels like they had all the talent in the world, the best next thing coming. If they could just shut up, kind of, and stop like creating all these nonsensical situations where Kevin Durant's calling these people out and Kyrie Irving's fighting against the media over here, and then Ben Simmons is just not talking to anybody because he can't do anything. It's just crazy.
I mean, I'd shut up and take $30 million a year too. Like, I don't know. I mean, I have anxiety. Go away. Like mental health. Like, no.
We all know that Durant just wants to be able to talk and get his words out there, and he's got burner accounts and all that kind of stuff, and we get that. I thought that was, I mean, very telling. You said it yourself. He's not bought into the season because he went into the year being like, no, I'm demanding a trade. I don't want to be a part of this dumpster fire. I could see the writing on the wall. Get me out of here. And they were like, no, but we're not going to do that. You're going to stay here and you're going to play. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to play, but I'm not going to be happy about it. So I mean, like, how did you think this is going to go?
I mean, it's that whole thing, right? You talk about players now that have like the freedom, like the player movement, like they can actually dictate where they go. Like, I'm gonna sit out, whatever. Like, you know, this one just didn't work. He's like, oh, well, like he gave up. You know what I mean? I think he low key, I think he definitely like hates Kyrie. Probably hates a lot of people in that organization. But like, neither of them would ever like have the audacity to like. You know, they always have to be cool with each other, like no matter what. They'll never beef publicly. But how could you like stand up from Golden State with, you get James Harden after the fact, you go to Brooklyn, team up with him, and he's not available because he doesn't want to get vaxxed. He's not available because he's an anti-Semite. Like that's like two things that Kevin Durant probably did not. No human in the friggin' history of the world could ever factor like those two things in, but that's Kyrie. That's the wild card you have to deal with. Like he doesn't play for an entire contract because he just has moral issues.
I'm assuming that he doesn't actually hate Kyrie. He just hates what he's become or what he's done to himself, basically, like the situations he's put himself in. I'm sure that they're buddy off the court when they're not talking about all these ridiculous topics, though I do think Durant finds himself to be an intellectual type and wants to talk about these things. But it's just like what Kyrie doesn't understand is this affects the stuff on the court too. Kyrie thinks he can just go over there, talk all whatever he wants to say, and then, hey, back off me, man. I'm just going to play basketball. That's just not how it's going to work. You're going to get the conversation every time you got a microphone put in front of you. You're going to get those questions. It's going to cause a problem. So I feel like Durant just hates that he's not smart enough to just shut his mouth and just understand that this can affect the game and the team way more. Like so I don't know. It sucked, but you put yourself in that position, right? As Durant, you tied yourself to the crazy. You put yourself in that area, yeah. and then he put him. And then he tried.
Never been priority, dude.
He tried to put himself in a situation. He tried to pull a Tom Brady, basically what Brady did with the Bucks, and said, you know what, I'm gonna just retire or leave or something. But Brady actually got his way and got his coach fired. And Durant didn't get his fired until 5-6 games into the season, I guess. So. I don't know. He tried to do it too, but it's a whole problem with them. It's a whole problem with disgruntled players. And what you're going to end up getting is a team that turned into the dumpster fire that a lot of people thought they were going to be. They already are there. It's lit. And that's actually what I think is going to happen to another team that's a little closer to our hearts in Boston, in the Boston Red Sox. I know we're going to talk a little Red Sox here, get a quick Red Sox minute in here, because I don't know if you're as surprised as I am. I'm not really surprised, but the new poll or the new odds have come out about the Boston Red Sox trying to sign one of their best players in Xander Bogaerts. And they have the third best odds, according to Vegas, to sign Xander Bogaerts at plus 450. They're behind the Phillies at plus 250, and then the Cubs at plus 325. They are not going to get Bogaerts. This is just going to snowball into they're not going to bring back Devers either. Are you surprised that this is happening, or did you kind of like me see this all coming to fruition before?
I mean, you saw it happen with Mookie Betts, trade at the deadline for nothing, for pennies, versus losing in free agency. But yeah, you knew this was coming. You hoped it wasn't. You hope that they'd actually pony up and pay market value for this guy. I don't really understand. I understand the philosophy, but it's just not something that you should be applying here. You need the team, remember how it used to be the hot seat, the hot stove, Thanksgiving time, baseball players would be signing free agent deals, Manny Ramirez, all that stuff. That stuff doesn't happen anymore. And that's just,
not here.
There needs to be, in order to reinvigorate, keep the fans interested, year after year, you got to have pop moves like that. You got to be able to get people buzzing about stuff. And when you sign a bunch of guys for $8 million a year that pass some Moneyball metric and can win you 74 games a season on a huge ass payroll, that's just there. You gotta if you're gonna spend big, you have to get big names, and that's what just makes me upset. And then you have the benefit of actually home growing talent like Bogaerts, like Devers, and you got them under market rate, especially in Bogaerts' case. The guy's played for you for over a decade for always under $20 million a year. And now it's just, all right, we're done. We got the most out of him. No, you have the benefit of not having to pay that huge market rate, because you brought him up all those years and paid him through arbitration and team friendly deals. Pay the guy the market rate. I mean, you're only gonna hurt. Even if signing him doesn't help you increase the fan base or get more buy-in, it certainly prevents you from losing it more, they're gonna do when they don't sign him.
That's what I'm saying. That's a big part of it. You nailed it. It's not even necessarily the frustrating part is they're not going out there and making those splash hot stove type deals and things like that, bringing in the new names or anything like that. That's frustrating on one level. But then, like you said, having homegrown talent, somebody that you brought up through the system and is still producing, by the way, it's not like they've completely fallen off. And we're talking about a guy that's getting, towards the end of his career, like a Dustin Pedroia at the end of his career type, where he was kind of completely falling off and people are being like, all right, we can't really bring him in, even though he's meant this much to the team. Bogaerts is still legit, just had another legit season last year. And you're just basically kind of, once again, don't want to have to spend too much money. I kind of got it with the Mookie Betts thing. He was asking for the moon. He was asking to be paid like one of the top 1, 2, or 3 players in the entire league. I get that. I still don't agree with it necessarily, but I get it. You don't want to get in on one of those types of players. Xander Bogaerts, though, I mean, you're not going to be breaking a Red Sox bank. If you ask me, you can't really ever break the Red Sox bank to bring in a guy that not only is still producing, but is a huge, huge, huge part of that leadership group. He's the guy. Bogaerts is the face of the franchise. He may not be the best player, but he's the one that galvanizes the group, in my opinion. So I don't know why you're not going to go out for that kind of a guy. And then, like I said, if you then go on down the line, I can make up an excuse for you with Mookie Betts. I could even, I guess, technically give you a little bit of leeway with Xander Bogaerts because you at least went out there and got Trevor Story. But if you don't bring back Devers as well, and you lose all 3 of those players, I mean, we have to riot. We have to boycott the Red Sox. And people have to stop going to the game. How else are you going to? I thought John Henry just got rid of his ownership stake in the soccer team. Shouldn't you be more focused on this team now? Shouldn't we be trying to sign these players? What are you doing? I don't get it.
He's trying to build. What was it, Vegas? He's trying to get a basketball team in Vegas.
Oh, is that what he's doing
his
now?
main focus now. Yeah, and there's there's also an MLS team that's like he might be able to own both, I guess. So that's sort of his shtick lately. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like you just know Bogarts is going to go to the Phillies. I mean, he's going to get paid right. It's Dombrowski. It makes too much sense. Yep. I mean, why wouldn't you want to join that squad? I mean,
they need him. They'll pay for him. Yeah, Dombrowski, like you said, he knows what he needs on his team. He's going to go out there. He's going to buy himself a championship opportunity. And the Red Sox are just not in that scenario right now. They're looking at themselves too. I know every time I talk about the Red Sox, I say basically the same thing here, but they have the small market mindset, the money ball mindset, and it's just not going to get it done. And what frustrates everyone on the fan side of things is, on top of the money ball attitude, when it comes to getting other players in, you're just not even signing the guys that you grew in your own farm system that prove themselves and are still proving themselves. I don't need you to go out there and give JD Martinez more money when you can see that he's starting to fall off. But Xander Bogaerts is still producing for this team, and he's a leadership talent, or a big part of the leadership in the group. I don't know. It makes no sense to me. And as I said before, I think if they let him and Devers go, we riot. We riot in the streets, and John Henry needs to be ousted as the owner. Or one of the majority.
I haven't paid for Nesson in like 2.5 years. So I mean, I've been rioting. I'm all about the riot.
I'm with that.
I can't. What I can't stand is just the fact that it's like an equation for these guys. I mean, I think it's how Henry made his money, right? It's like all stock market, like figured out like a formula like for predicting the stock market. He looks at it as, if I never go over the luxury tax, and I can put a team out there that makes the playoffs 2 out of 4 years, every 2 out of 4 years, every other year, I'll generate enough revenue from the playoff games to keep this thing afloat and like they're, get paid out X amount. It's all really sucks. And it just sucks because sometimes you need to spend 100%, you need 110%. You got to go over, you got to pay a little bit of the penalty. Like, look at the Celtics are doing. Like, you got to be able to, you have to want to invest like that to bring a championship, reinvigorate people. I mean, you can't keep doing this yo-yo up and down type of thing. It's absurd.
Just read the room, John. Just read the room, man. Everybody wants it. Everybody's, demanding it basically. And you're just going to still spit in everyone's face and let all these guys go. It's disgusting to me. And it makes me feel like fans of the Red Sox, it's an older generation group anyways. They should be falling off by the day at this point with all this kind of news. So that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. All right, now we jump from one team where the fans are, should be revolting at this point. I'm asking for it, to another team that has its fan base kind of up and down on them right now, in the New England Patriots. Revolting a little bit, at least to a certain point here. And in all honesty, these latest comments that have come out against my main man, Bill Belichick, are disgusting. If you haven't heard the LaShawn McCoy comments that he made the other day when he was trying to finally make a name for himself in the media world, because you obviously know he's got to be able to promote himself and get the podcast views or get on and say some flamboyant, crazy stuff out there. He went on a verbal rampage against Bill Belichick and basically told everybody that he's just another coach. He means nothing now, especially without Brady. And everyone should be starting to think about him that way. So I figured it would be a good topic of conversation to bring up with Matt here, who is our resident Brady Bobo and not the biggest fan of Bill Belichick. So I got to get his opinions on what was said by LaShawn McCoy. I'm assuming you've seen it by now. You've heard everything that he's said, and I'm willing to break it down point by point, but I'll give you the floor to start. What did you think about LaShawn McCoy's comments about Bill Belichick?
I'm not surprised. It's not a narrative that hasn't been talked about before in terms of Belichick's record and where he sits without Brady. B, JD went down to Tampa and won with Brady. Am I right? The first year So on that team. I would listen to whatever, like if Tommy was like, hey, like that Belichick stinks. Like I'm the man. Like, yep, you're right. You just won me a Super Bowl. Like I would listen to anything. I follow that man. If I'm going to follow anyone, it's going to be Tom Brady over Bill Belichick. So, I mean, I think it's again, the narrative, like I think he's short selling Belichick. Obviously, the guy's done some amazing stuff, but he's Shady's got sort of this. Why not take shots if he's on that Brady Kool-Aid? So
yeah, he's on the Brady Kool-Aid, and he's trying to make a name for himself in the media world, clearly. So when you say things like this, now people are going to want to hear what he has to say next. That's pretty obvious. So I don't know.
What does he follow it up with? What do you think?
Yeah, how do you go with that? What else does he have to say at that point? But I think that it was extremely disrespectful, but it wasn't 100% wrong. It wasn't 100% wrong. Some of the things he said, I am willing to agree with what he said. But some of the other things, some of the real disrespectful stuff, when he started putting him in the likes in the rankings with, he said, with the Marvin Lewises and the Rex Ryans of the world, get out of here, you joke of a human being. That is the most disrespectful thing, to put him in that category. We're talking about Marvin Lewis, who was just barely a 500 coach in the regular season and 0-7 in all playoff games that he ever coached in. And don't even get me started about Rex Ryan, that foot-loving weirdo. I don't think that there's any way you should ever utter the name Bill Belichick in the same sentence with either of those two coaches. So horrible start by McCoy. You could have gone with Tomlin. You could have gone with Andy Reid, and I would have respected it more. And I think he does eventually get into that in his comments, because I forget the woman's name who was talking with him, basically reminded him, hey, yeah, maybe put him in there with like at least the best coaches that are going right now. Don't start off with Marvin Lewis and Rex Ryan. You lose all credibility right out the gate.
Yeah,
if you ask me.
She's really holding his hand. She's holding his hand on that one, trying to guide him. Like, he's not a lot of good media instincts on that man. Maybe he'll get better with time. My guess is probably not.
If you're going to come with that,
you got the inflammatory comment, like Belichick's not that great without Brady. Like, oh, all right, cool. But then when you start, the biggest mistake he made was start to draw parallels. Is he like a Rex Ryan? It's like, oh, dude, come on. Now it's you have a decent nebulous sort of argument where you could get people talking. Now you just, the whole thing, you lost all your credibility when you compare him to those guys.
You lose it immediately. It's the same thing that happened with Asante Samuel. You start off up here with the great first comment, and then as you talk more and more and more, you sound so much dumber. It's crazy.
Hell of a friggin' first punch, though.
No, yeah, it's great. And they always seem to come out with that first punch, and they get it, and it strikes a chord, and everybody is behind them. Yeah, that's the right message. And then you hear the rest of the things that he said, and he just completely is like, where are you going with this, man? This is kind of ridiculous what you're doing. I was on board with you. He then went on to say that people hate for you to be real about Bill Belichick, which I do agree with that. I think that there's a lot of that, at least around the Patriots and things like that. The Patriots fan base, don't ever say anything bad about Bill Belichick. There's the Bill Belichick Bobos, just like the Brady Bobos, who are going to say no matter what, if you say anything negative about him, you're wrong, which I think that's incorrect. I mean, obviously, Bill Belichick has made mistakes over his career. He's had bad draft classes. He's made bad coaching decisions out there. He's not perfect. He is a human being, and he's a petty human being at that, just like, Tom is, I think, as well. So I don't know, that kind of stuff. I understand where he's coming from there. He's certainly not perfect, but the consistency that you have over 20 years, over a 20-year dynasty, doesn't come from you just being a regular run-of-the-mill coach. I don't care if you had gave Tom Brady to Rex Ryan or Marvin Lewis or any of these other bozos that he was trying to compare to. None of them would have had a 20-year run even close to what they had with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, in my opinion. So I think that that's where you're crazy. I understand that you got to give more credit to Brady. I've said this before, but if you don't at least give the Bill Belichick and coaching side of things at least 40% of the credit, in my opinion, I think you're crazy. I think that there's much more even nature to that argument. I will give you that Brady, obviously being on the field, being the player, he has more to influence with it, but getting that defense in line at all times, that's all on Bill Belichick. Getting the special teams, yes, I know some people hate on special teams and things like that, but having those units consistently prepared week in and week out for 20 years, come on, man. It's not just all one player. As much as he's the GOAT, don't get me wrong, but it's not all one player. So that part, I think is also a little bit crazy on him to say that. The next part that he brought up there, he talked about the Jamie Collins stuff. He said that Jamie Collins was our best defensive player. He also even said possibly our best player at that time, back when the Patriots ended up trading him to the Browns because he wasn't really going for the contract situation that they wanted him to. He was also doing ridiculous things that was reported of him just like running off on his own and being like, okay, you're going to play zone here. And he would just blitz for no reason. So like, yeah, you're out of here, Jamie Collins. That's kind of crazy. But what LeSean McCoy said was, yeah, sure, you can trade your best player when you have Tom Brady. And I agree. It makes it a lot easier to trade players when you have somebody like Tom Brady that can, put Band-Aids over other areas and fix things. But can we also talk about the fact that Jamie Collins was a complete bum everywhere else that he went, except for when he played on the Patriots? He would go away to another team, show the fact that he actually sucked, and then he would come back to the Patriots, be utilized in the right way, and then all of a sudden his stock would go back up again, and the same process would happen again. So I think that was another point that LeSean McCoy, like, half and half right. Half and half. I don't know. That was another one.
Nothing but shots against the Patriots. Huh? That's just his big target. He's just going to go in on the Pats in any way, shape, or form.
Of course.
I mean, it's an easy first target. I mean, there's definitely, people love the Patriots. They loved him, hate him, whatever. I loved him. Now I'm just sort of,
it's a big, you can create a lot of controversy and a lot of topics with that. I mean, the last point that he brought in, this one was another one that I kind of agree with here. He said that basically Brady, or it was mentioned to him that Brady was the woman who he was talking to, said, well, now Brady was brought in as a 6th-round talent and became the greatest of all time. Obviously, that has something to do with Bill Belichick, to which LeSean McCoy retorted, well, yeah, but now he's got a 1st-round quarterback in Mac Jones who looks like he's going the other way. So I also agree with that. That's another one right there. And maybe you can say that Bill Belichick lost his developmental fastball at this point, and he's not doing as good of a job with Mac Jones. He also put himself into a horrible position, bringing in just his own buddy coaches to try and coach up this new quarterback here. And that's obviously becoming a problem too. So Bill's got some, he needs to kind of step it up when it comes to that. And we're going to see that through the rest of this season. McCoy's not wrong there, but I also do think that obviously Belichick helped start off Brady's career in the path that he went to. You have to admit that, right?
Yeah, they lifted each other up differently at different points in their career, right? So obviously Belichick putting together the whole program, the defense and everything, and putting Brady in a position to manage the game and win in the beginning. Yeah, of course. And towards the tail end, I mean, Belichick got in the way, benching Malcolm Butler. I mean, so that would piss me off too.
But then there's also the Rams Super Bowl.
But I think it's like the two obviously the two made one another better. They're better together than separate, but Brady was he's much more important than Bell, not like far more, but he's significant. Brady is significantly more important to the results than Belichick. It's just how it is, but they both made each other better.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that they both did. I agree. I agree that if you want to bring up the Malcolm Butler thing, regardless of what I think about him, and he's a bum, I think that maybe, that's obviously a questionable decision there. You also had the Rams Super Bowl,
if he one pass defended, if he defended a single pass against the 600 yards that got thrown up on him, if they just knocked down one ball and 1 3rd down, they'd have won the Super Bowl.
But then what about the Rams Super Bowl, where it was basically all the defense and the fact that you had Gilmore being a dominant force on one side, holding the other team to only 6 points in their Super Bowl game? I mean, while your offense can only score 13, other than that big Gronkowski catch and drive there, what did the offense do in that one? So, I mean, I think that, like you said, they both there was moments for each of them that they both did good. I do admit, though, Brady had more to do with the success, but if you're going to tell me that Belichick doesn't even deserve to be like in the conversation, then you're complete jerk off, in my opinion, and then it makes no sense.
No, they worked well together, but Brady clearly won the breakup, and he's sort of middling, just banging fives all the time now.
Speaking of that breakup, Brady's obviously going through a real breakup in life, in his divorce with his wife, but he's 2-0 since then, and starting to kind of turn things around, it seems like. So it brings me to the question, are the Buccaneers back to being a title contender at this point?
I wouldn't call it, I mean, yeah, sure, because honestly, they're going to win the division. And so you're going to give Brady a home playoff game. And I'm not going to bet against that man once he's in the dance. Put him into the final 12, how the numbers shake out now. I mean, they win a home playoff game, might have to go on the road, but I mean, I'm why not at this point? Why not? The odds were like plus 2,200 last week for them to win it. I mean, it's good value. It's good. I mean, I put less than $100, but like if it hits, it's like oh man, like should have known Brady was going to do it again. Like I mean that's not like that unbelievable. So
I think that they are contenders just because, like you said, they're definitely going to get into the playoffs. I think they have one of the easiest remaining schedules going to get in there, so that it's going to be really easy for them to just get into the playoffs. And then when you're playing against teams like the Eagles, the Vikings, the Cowboys, the Niners, any of those quarterbacks that go up against Tom Brady, they're going to crap down their leg, I think. So I don't think that you have to worry about anything there. I will say the only thing that could get in their way is maybe the Buccaneers coaching staff being completely dumb and doing stupid things, or their defense maybe making some weird questionable plays or something like that. That could get in Brady's way. And then I also think that if either Mahomes or Josh Allen is on the other side of the field in the Super Bowl, I don't know if Brady has enough in the tank right now to be able to beat a high-powered team like that, just because of the players around him, probably on the defensive side more than the offensive side now that he's getting his weapons back. But I don't know.
I mean,
it just feels
health would be a determining factor there. I mean, the Chiefs are obviously without Tyreek Hill, and then they've got Juju Smith-Schuster's hurt, Cole Hardman's hurt, but the Chiefs have made the Bucs look silly in primetime football the past 2 seasons. So, I mean, and then obviously the Bucs did it in the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to see if Brady had one more run left in him against the kid, but playing against Josh Allen against the Bills, a team that Brady is historically owned, that would also be a fun watch too. I'm rooting for Brady in either scenario. It doesn't matter.
Of course you are.
He left, so we got a second team. It's like Boston, New England always needed a second sports team.
Ooh,
now we have one.
I don't know if that's how that works. I don't know if everyone would agree with you on that, but I think that he does have a legitimate shot. Brady has a chance. And like I said, I think the only thing that might hold him back is maybe his coaching staff, because those guys don't always show up. They're not always making the right decision. I mean, you go back to that game in Germany there, you had one of arguably the worst play calls I've ever seen, putting your 45-year-old quarterback running a route out to the left side there and trying to catch a football. What did you think of that entire play? That was ridiculous.
So I don't know play calling well enough to know. Like, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Brady did not call his own number and being like, "I'm going wide. Like, let's do this." I don't think it was him. But I also think that like he can probably shake a play off if he gets it in the headset. Like, no, are you effing nuts? Like, no, I'm not gonna. Yeah. So like, no, I'm not doing this. So like, part of him probably wanted to like. He's looked stupid every single time he's tried to go out and catch a pass. He's gotten hurt. He's looked dumb. This time he got a tripping. He freaking tripped up the back that was near him. Like he's never looked good. Like I can't like he's got too much of an ego to when you're the pitcher, you gotta like shake it off and like the catcher throws you one. That one you gotta be like, nah. I remember last time.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, that's what I'm saying. So is that the coaching staff just being like, hey, Tom, we're going to do this play? And Tom being like, you know what? Yeah, I could boss this guy right now. I don't know if you saw that little tweet comment that he had afterwards. He was like, I was this close to mossing that guy and bringing it back for 6. But I just like, why would you even put your 45-year-old quarterback in that scenario on arguably one of the worst looking fields I've seen in a long time? I mean, that thing was torn up to shreds. And then you're going to have Tom, at least let him do it on a regular field or a turf field or something where he can actually run. I don't think he had any chance not to slip.
Maybe he's faster on real grass. Maybe it's like a thing that's he's more aerodynamic. Maybe. He gets better traction. It's synthetic turfs. And I don't know, man. You saw it unfold and like you've just seen it before here. And it's like, it was against Tennessee when he got injured in that play. I think he finished the game because he's a effing warhorse. But yeah, you just knew like when that went down, it's like, oh, and like he hopefully didn't shatter his shin when he tried to trip that guy, because he definitely tripped him.
Dude, I mean, it's just I don't know. So that's the biggest problem I think for the Buccaneers is whether Brady's not shaking off the plays, whether Brady thinks he can do some of these plays, or it's just the Bucs coaching staff, and for some reason Brady's not telling them no. That could always get in their way. So that could be the major roadblock for Tom Brady getting another Super Bowl at this point.
He's trying new things. He's newly single. He's trying to just figure out his place in the world right now. So he's like, maybe I can retire from quarterback and become a wide receiver and launch another career.
Yeah, right. Maybe that's the case. What? Just real quickly, we're not a gossip magazine or anything, but what'd you think about the whole Giselle already having a boyfriend thing?
I didn't even read into that. I've had a crazy couple of weeks myself, but I haven't really done the tabloids. Who is well, there like a rumor as to who it is?
Oh, I'll tell you who it is. It's her Taekwondo instructor or something like that she's had for over a year, and that her kids have met.
Yeah, I mean Brady. I might have to go bet the mortgage on the Bucks now. That's a revenge tour.
I mean, seriously, that's like, I mean, obviously the marriage had probably been crumbling for a while. You don't just come to that realization like out of nowhere. And it certainly wasn't just because he went back to play football. But man, it sounds like from everything that was coming out about that, it's been at least a year that she's been getting lessons from this guy. And now she's immediately dating him like weeks later. So,
and she could probably knock out Brady because she's got the Taekwondo skills. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, I just thought that was an interesting part of the whole scenario there, but you might be right. Maybe that's going to overcome any of the dumb coaching from the Buccaneers coaching staff, the revenge tour for Brady wanting to go out there and stick it to his ex-wife.
Well, I didn't really need any reason to take his side. I was going to jump on his side anyways, but now that this hoe is doing this to him, poor guy.
Poor Tom. But actually, there's somebody else we should probably be feeling worse for at this point. And to just kind of wrap up things to do with the show, and then the gambling competition picks will come after. But speaking of poor saps that are dealing with a horrible situation that just happened, this whole Mendes gambling pick that happened the other night, I don't know if you fully followed up on everything that happened with this, but in the gambling competition, Mendes had Devontae Smith over 51.5 receiving yards in that Monday Night Football game. And if you didn't see it, I talked about it earlier in the week, but I wanted to get Matt's opinion on it. He had 58 receiving yards. It was all wrapped up. You go into that last play of the game, they do the fumble-rooski lateral play. It ends up in Devontae Smith's hands. He chucks it backwards into the ground, and it's picked up for a fumble and a score. They ended up bringing him down to like 38 yards or something. It was almost like a 20-yard loss for him receiving yards. Is that the worst beat of all time?
No, I think this probably worse. And I tried so hard earlier today to find go into like the archives of the college football and figure out. There was some dude, I swear, like might have not even been like D1, but hit the worst beat was like he had like the all-time rushing record, then he ran for a negative play in like the last game and lost the record. But that's probably the worst. That's what came to mind for this. This is a freaking gambling pick. I mean, I think it was 42. It was 41.5 was the yardage. He had 42, and to me it's just a failure of like the stat keeping. How does that that's like that would be rushing to me. Like when you get that ladder, like when you like you get it, like you didn't catch a forward pass, you got like it was like someone pitched it to you. Exactly. So that should be rushing yards.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that one I don't really understand. I'd want my money back if I were involved in that one. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think Mendes was trying to get that on Twitter. I saw him going after some sports books or something like that, trying to get it back. No response.
Yeah, get him.
Yeah, get him. I just thought, as far as bad beats go, I mean, obviously going for the record and then getting taken away from him, that's terrible. But bad beats gambling wise, I can't think of one that's been worse than that. I mean, on the most ridiculous play that never works, you're going to lose that many yards and lose your player prop bet. I feel bad.
Yeah, not an easy one to handle. You don't expect once you hit that number it's going to go back down. But I'll be honest. I've done so poorly with the competition that I stopped actually checking the updates of like who's where. Once I hit I had like an 0-5 week, and I was like, well, I'm just going to set aside $100 right now. I'm going to give it to these guys, and maybe next year.
Hey, don't worry about it. You're not out of it. There's still a lot of football left, a lot of weeks to go. You can get back in this thing, and it's going to start right next when we give our next gambling picks here. I know you get going, but we'll get you on maybe a voicemail or something to give the picks. But I just want to say thank you for coming back on the show again. We'll get you on again soon to talk more maybe about the Brady Revenge Tour, but also the Celtics and other things as well.
Always a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Okay, time for everybody's favorite gambling competition. We got to give all the picks for this weekend. We have the team getting a little bit better overall. Everyone except myself had a winning weekend on their picks last weekend. Unfortunately, mine came down to the last second, and I lost on Monday night, bringing me to 2-3. But the rest of the guys were 4-1, 3-2. Happy to see it. Happy to see that we're all giving out winning picks. Well, besides myself this weekend, at least a winning weekend for the rest of the guys. So happy about that as the competition continues to heat up. We got a couple of voicemails from Mendes and Cam. You got my picks as well. And we're going to start off with those picks. But I have a little bit of a controversy with my picks right now, a little bit of a frustration thing. It's all revolving around that Bills-Browns game. I got to tell you, I'm pretty upset about the fact that on Monday night, during the Monday Night Football game, I actually looked ahead to the next week, saw the Browns-Bills game, before really even knowing about the snow, saw that it was at 47, was going to take the under, did take the under, bet that, talked to the guys about it on Twitter. If you didn't follow along, it's at the Clapp Trap. You'll be able to see us talking all about the gambling competition, things going on in there, at Zack Clapp as well on Twitter. I was talking to the guys about it, showed them the betting slip and everything. I was going to have Bills, Browns under 47 in Buffalo with 3 to 6 feet of snow, whatever it was. I was feeling pretty good about the pick. I got it at 47, like I said, on Monday night. Then come Tuesday, it immediately shot down to 44 or 43, something like that, because the weather reports were starting to come out. By the time you're getting closer to the end of the week, it's down at 41.5 around there. And I was excited about what I had. Then yesterday, it comes out that they're actually going to move the game to Detroit. So that nullified any bet that I had, change of venue, changed everything up there. And now you're going to have the Bills-Browns game played at a neutral site in Detroit instead. So I originally had that game under 47 when I thought it was going to be in the snow. And you know what? I'm sticking with under 48.5 now in the Bills-Browns game. That's going to be in the neutral site. I think that in this one, in all honesty, the first time that I looked at this line, the reason I was going under anyways was because the Bills are such heavy favorites. I don't think that the Browns are going to be able to score much, if at all, against this Bills team. They still have Jacoby Brissett. They don't have scumbag Watson in there yet. I think that they are not going to be able to score with them. I think the Bills will get out to an early big lead, and then they'll be just trying to run the ball constantly to get through the game and secure the victory. So I'm taking under 48.5 points in the Browns-Bills game to start off my picks. Pick number 2, I'm going with Panthers-Ravens. Under 41 points in this one. Ravens, huge favorites. I think 13-point favorites in this one. Once again, it feels like the Ravens are going to get out to a hot start. The Panthers are having to play Baker Mayfield because Walker is injured. I don't think that's going to go well for the Panthers. They've already pretty much given up on their season, traded a bunch of their huge assets, including Christian McCaffrey. So this is a completely different Panthers team right now. And I think that this Ravens squad, coming off of a bye, is going to just roll over them. And once again, it's going to be another one of those situations where Ravens get out to an early lead. Panthers can't really do anything. Ravens start to run the ball to control the game, and the game stays under 41 points. So under 41 in the Panthers-Ravens game is my second pick. Third pick I'm going with Jets-Patriots over 38 points. Not going to lie to you guys, as a Patriots fan, I'm nervous about this one. Even coming out of the bye week, playing against a Jets team that we just beat up on, I don't care about any of that. I think that the pressure is ramped up in this one to come out strong against a divisional opponent who just had a crazy good win against the Bills, another divisional opponent, before their bye week. Both teams coming off of a bye, both teams ready to go. Jets are in revenge mode. Patriots are trying to continue to salvage their season and put themselves in a good position. This is basically a must win for the Patriots, the way the rest of their schedule goes, in my opinion. You need to get as many wins as you can against teams that you think that you can actually beat. Jets is one of them, but I'm nervous. I'm nervous in all honesty. I feel like this could be the type of game that's like 21-20, just barely finishing it off. Maybe a field goal decides the thing, but I think that both teams here are going to be able to come out and score, and I'm worried about the Jets being able to score in this one specifically. So give me the over in the Jets-Patriots, over 38 points for my third pick. Pick number 4 for me, going to be Chiefs-Chargers, under 51 points in this game here. I've been picking a lot of unders recently. Chiefs, big favorites in this one. I think 6 or 7 point favorite. This is the second time that they're facing each other, divisional opponents. Once again, in this scenario here, I think it's going to lead to a lower scoring game. This is a high number at 51 points, so they can still score a decent amount. And I'm still not convinced that either Mike Williams or Keenan Allen will be back for the Chargers at this point. And as good as I think that Herbert is, he just doesn't have the kind of weapons to go on this one. I also am seeing that the Chiefs are dealing with injuries with their wide receivers. Juju Smith-Schuster is out or questionable, highly questionable. Mecole Hardman, same situation. So I don't know if either one of those guys will play. There may be barely any wide receivers on each side of the field, and I think that that's going to lead to an under in this one. So give me Chiefs, Chargers, under 51 points for my fourth pick. The last one I'm going with. I'm taking Cardinals +8 at home against the 49ers. Now, this number might change drastically between now and game time, so get in on it as quickly as you can, because I do think that Kyler is going to play in this one. And the return of Hollywood Brown just gives him another weapon to work with along with Hopkins. I know that they just lost Zach Ertz, but this team is going to be able to pass the ball, I think, even on a 49ers team, and at least keep it close, at least keep it within a touchdown. So give me the points on this one. Both teams coming off big wins. Cardinals are looking great with Hopkins, and now they're going to get Hollywood Brown back. So give me Cardinals +8 at home against the 49ers for my fifth and final pick on that one. Those are my picks for this weekend. Like I said, coming off a 2-3 weekend last weekend, hopefully getting on the winning side of things. Need to start stacking some good weekends together to get back in this competition. But I figure next we'll go with the leader in the clubhouse, the guy who had the worst beat last weekend in Mendes. Let's hear what he's got for his picks this weekend.
Happy week 11. Still trying to recover from last week. Can't lie. I'm rattled. Hate the board. I have less than zero confidence, but we're going to give this a shot. First play, Michael Pittman under 65.5 receiving yards for Philly. I think Philly's going to come out pretty aggressive. Indy, I'm not a believer in them. I think they just found the right matchup in the Vegas last week. Philly's strength is the outside corners. I don't see Pittman getting that. Next play, Darnell Mooney over 45.5 receiving yards against the Falcons. I know AJ Terrell's coming back, but I'll take Mooney in that. That line's low. He can hit that on one play. He's hit that, I think, 6 out of his last 7 games, so I like that. Same game, I like Marcus Mariota over 205 passing and rushing yards versus the Bears. Bears defense is pretty trash. They'll be able to move the ball. It won't be pretty, but I could see him throwing for 160, running for 40, something like that. Next play, Damian Pierce over 80.5 rushing yards versus Washington. It's going to probably be a letdown game from Washington against Houston. Can't get much bigger of a win. Short week. I see Houston. That's really the only hope of moving the ball is Pierce, so I like that line. That line's kind of low. Last play, Najee Harris under 52.5 rushing yards for Cincy. Coming off the best game of the season, but I'm still not a believer. Now they're talking that his knee's banged up. He's splitting time with Jalen Warren. Week 1 against Cincy, he had 10 carries for 24 yards. So I'll take the under in that. All right, let's hope the gambling gods are with me and bless me with some good luck this week. All right, later, buddy.
All right, yeah. He is still coming off of that bad beat that I can't stop talking about all week if you've been listening to the show. The Devonta Smith loss that he had on his player prop of over 51.5 receiving yards, losing it all on that last play, the lateral play of the game. I don't know how you could recover from that. So understandable, but either way, he still had a winning week of 3-2. He's been on a roll. He's just 2 games under 500 now on the year, the best one out of any of us, which isn't saying much, but still, Mendes has been on a roll. His player props have been hitting pretty good, minus that Devonta Smith play. So ride with Mendes right now. I think that you're going to be getting some good things. But we have another person to get to, another voicemail, and that's Mr. Cam. So let's get to his picks next.
Hey, y'all, it's Cam here with the picks for the week. We got 3 in college and 2 in the NFL. In college, first is Georgia, Kentucky under 48.5. The last 3 or 4 times these teams have played, the total has gone way under this number, and Kentucky's offense has been especially bad this year. Next, we have Iowa +3 versus Minnesota. I think Iowa's the better team, and the total in this game is only 32, so gladly take the 3 points. I got UCLA +2.5 against USC. I think UCLA wins this game. I think USC has been overrated all year. And after the NFL, I'll take the Commanders -3 against the Texans. I think they can run all over them at will, like they did against the Eagles. And last is the Steelers +4 against the Bengals. I think the Steelers are just a lot different than TJ Watt. They should be able to get a lot of pressure on Burris. So to sum it up, Georgia, Kentucky under 48.5, Iowa +3, UCLA +2.5, Washington -3, Pittsburgh +4.
All right, there we go. You got Cam's picks. He's coming off a 4-1 weekend. Hot is Cam right now. He's got some college. He's got some pro stuff. He loves the Steelers this year. He loves betting on the Steelers. So that's another one to look into there. And we'll see if Cam can continue his hot streak going forward. We'll also have Matt's picks up on Twitter on Sunday. So keep an eye out on that. Follow the Clapp Trap at the Clapp Trap on Twitter. You'll be able to see everything that goes on with that. We're also on YouTube now. If you're listening on the podcast only, you can go ahead and see everything that's going on. We post all of the picks in the video. So if you're having a hard time hearing these guys and sniffly Cam, sounds like maybe he's getting sick again. Hopefully that's not the case. But we'll see how things go with that. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Just want to say I appreciate everybody for tuning in, listening along to all the Clapp Trap here. We'll be back again next week to recap everything that happened in Week 11. Big game for the Patriots, games for the Celtics, games for the Bruins. We'll see how things go. I'll see you guys later.